Okay, so good afternoon, everyone, friends, and welcome to the Indo-Canada Chamber of Commerce interactive session on challenges faced by international students from India in Canada. I am Ripudaman Singh Dhillon, the 34th President of Indo-Canada Chamber of Commerce. I'm going to be the Master of Ceremonies for this afternoon's program. And I have been given this responsibility by our Executive Director, Mr. Meghbhat, for the first time. And thank you very much, Meghbhat. So, like, I know. So we have this with us a prominent lineup of speakers, including Peel Regional Police Chief Nishan Duraiappah, Consul General of India Apoorva Srivastava, Associate Vice President of Centennial College, Virginia Macchiavello, Gurshan Kandraji, a veteran member of the ICCC and a student enrollment consultant. In addition, we also have two students who will share their experiences with us. The challenges the Indian students face in Canada are many and complex. It has led to unfortunate developments among the students' community. The Indo-Canadian community has started to take active measures to address these challenges. It is an uphill task that will require sustained and prolonged engagement. On behalf of our chamber, I would like to congratulate the Consul General of India, Apoorva Srivastava, for having organized a community interface last month to discuss the challenges and the measures that should be undertaken to address the issue. Let me introduce the first speaker of the afternoon, Peel Regional Police Chief Nishan Duraiappah. Chief Duraiappah began his career with Halton Police in December 1995. He was promoted to Deputy Chief of Halton Police in 2015, leading frontline policing, community mobilization, as well as innovation and technology. In October 2019, Chief was appointed Chief of Peel Regional Police. Chief Duraiappah arrived with a mandate for change and the strategic goal of becoming the most progressive police service in Canada. Chief is committed to the safety and well-being of the community he serves, with one of the primary focuses being mental health and seeking multi-sectoral collaborative partnerships to reduce risk in the community. Please join me in welcoming Chief Duraiappah. Chief.
Thank you, sir, for the introduction, and my pleasure to be with the Indo-Canadian Chamber of Commerce. I also want to acknowledge, first of all, Consulate General. It's a pleasure to see you again virtually. We've had an opportunity to speak several times in the last week, and thank you for your continued support. But also want to thank the Chamber for inviting me back. I think our relationship continues to grow based on your invitation to me to come in, just to introduce you to some of my leadership team. And I want to quickly pause and acknowledge Deputy Chief Nick Milinovich. Deputy Chief Milinovich is in charge of all of our investigative services for the region of Peel. He also is the executive sponsor for here. When I arrived at Peel Police established, we have a really vibrant workforce of 3,500 employees, but he is the executive sponsor of our South Asian Internal Support Network. So our civilian and sworn members that are South Asian, we want to leverage them and their strength because we know that they're the face of interaction with our community. And so, Nick, thank you for joining us. We also have Acting Deputy Chief Navdeep Chinzer. Navi is, many of you know him well in the community. He's one of oversight of our corporate services at the moment, a longstanding member of the police service. Of course, my executive officer, Superintendent Marty Ottaway. Thank you for joining us, Marty. And a name that you will all know is, Inspector Raj Beering, who is also operations inspector for one of our busiest divisions in Mississauga, but also deeply connected with our efforts in the Indo-Canadian community. So first of all, thank you for having me here. I think, some of my remarks are going to also obviously speak to what you would normally understand as a police-related issue. And when we think about, okay, where do the intersecting points with our police community, meet our newcomer community, particularly our students that are here from an international basis, and as we know, dominantly from our South Asian and Indo-Canadian community. What you're going to be surprised to hear from me is I do not have a police-specific response. You're going to hear something that I mentioned to the chamber a significant time ago, is that the needs of our community are very diverse. It is not one specific sector that can resolve or solve the needs of our community. And in this particular case, we happen to be talking about the needs of our international students. And I want to first acknowledge is that they are a vibrant piece of our community. You know, I think, you know, as a Sri Lankan immigrant myself, my parents born in Sri Lanka and coming here, we understand there are needs for all of our community that come to start a fresh new life here and supports that need to be in place. But if you come by yourself and there are other systems that aren't strengthened to support our individuals that are coming to get education, find employment, we have already disadvantaged a significant population. And I say to many people, 80% of what my officers spend their time on statistically is on non-criminal activity. We are supporting vulnerable populations, whether it be older adults, youth, those that have housing, precarious housing, mental health, addictions, and food insecurity. You know, really, we are here because we are part of the equation. And I want to first commend the Chamber for seeing how the business community can strengthen some of the solutioning that is needed. So let me first say that the traditional policing model has been, you look to the police for policing responses. If there's violence in the community, if there is road or traffic safety issues, if there are frauds happening in the community, it has traditionally been a police response. And let me tell you, our people are some of the best and globally trained individuals to respond to those needs. But what we're realizing here in Peel region, where we have a population of 1.4 million, we have a projected rate of growth for the next 25 years of 30% rate of growth. And just for reference, the city of Toronto has a 10 to 15% rate of growth. So we know that much of the growth we're going to see in our community is from newcomers, from people moving out into the suburban environments and the urban environments. And so let me say, what I've been asked to do in the last 2 years is here in Peel is to change our approach, to not use the traditional approach of how we've responded to growing pressures, but to see it in a different lens. And the lens I am asking my team to really actualize on is how can we collaboratively bring multiple sectors together to find solutions to risk in the community. That could be any of the ones I mentioned to you previously. And quite specifically today, I want to talk to you about how I see not only the role of Peel Police, but coming alongside the business community to solution how we can strengthen the support and safety nets for our international students. So the first things first is we have adopted an approach here at Peel called the Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan. And I'll happily send, perhaps I can, after we finish the call, I'll offer to send you some web-based documents and articles that can brief you on this new approach. The new approach says that if we focus on a need in the community, not just from the traditional emergency response mechanisms, but also invest in opportunities to mitigate risk, to prevent, and to invest in social development, which I think our health and our academic partners, Virginia would know this well, many of you, is the social determinants of health. We end up building a more vibrant plan, because the traditional one would have been Nishan, Nish, what can Peel Police do for the emergencies? We have, perhaps concerns about substance abuse, perhaps fraud, maybe exploitation of our students because they're vulnerable and unsupported. What is the police response? I need to first tell you that you have here on the screen 3 or 4 of my best members that completely invest in that space. But what we become more aware of, if we want to be a resilient community, we need to invest in those other spaces. So some of the examples of what we have done is that we recognize that our officers need to, not only in emergency circumstances, assist our students. So what we've done in the last 2 years is starting to shift, bring other associations, entities, and business communities into the equation. When we, for example, we know that we have a role, the educational institutions. I bet you if you talk to Virginia from Centennial or from Janet Morrison from Sheridan, they have built a very vibrant support mechanism for their students. But we know that there are a lot of other entities that have brought students into an education paradigm that may not have done the same. So at the end of my speaking engagement, I'm hoping that it stimulates perhaps a conversation with the business community that says, puts their hand up and says, Nish, we can come alongside of you for this. For example, we see our international students having difficulties navigating existing processes here. For example, the landlord and tenant rights, being able to manage their rights so they're not exploited in multi-housing dwellings, that their resources aren't usurped and unmanaged. For example, even navigating intimate partner violence, which we traditionally used to call domestic violence, not to condone any of it, but on the front end, when our students arrive, the ability for us to tell them how systems work here, to equip them for understanding what happens if maybe your roommate's actions jeopardize you, or your actions, or maybe you're with somebody who's making decisions. Understanding the elements of fraud. We all know that substance abuse, because of its availability in the community, has changed perhaps how these individuals are supported. So we have partnered with our educational institutions to enroll in focused presentations. That's one example. And if you can see, this is a shift from our traditional approach of responding to the emergency, but trying to go upstream to see if we can change the outcomes. We have been obviously impacted by COVID and have sought other opportunities for virtual presentations. We would love if perhaps the chamber would be the host of some of these and facilitate some of these options. We could easily bring a multitude of speakers from a variety of different sectors, from health, from the region, from the municipalities, from other stakeholders to come alongside them. Recently, we're engaged with Centennial. We've talked to Algoma University, Trios College, Lambton College, St. Clair College, Evergreen College, Stanford International College. We have Peel Police have shifted our approach in the last year to engage nearly 2,000 international students through this initiative. But that is just our space. What we do desire is to bring together our different collaboratives. If you look at policing, the business community, the education community, health, social services, the municipality, the provincial government, the federal government, all are not-for-profit sector, Indus Community Services, Punjabi Health Services, Canadian Mental Health. If we brought all of us together in a collaborative way, I am certain that that is the route to strengthen a plan, a concrete strategy that has short, midterm, long-term goals that could be framed. And for example, recently there has been, I know Sheridan has brought together many partners for a roundtable to discuss the international student experience. I know we have some international students that are going to speak soon. What we've been missing is having their voice at the table to help inform the needs. because we do not want to prescribe changes to supporting international students without actually having their voice inform the process. One thing we have definitely learned, post everything geopolitical in the last 2 years, is that we need to be informed by the community we serve and not prescribe the programming and service delivery. I know in policing, we have traditionally prescribed the service delivery. And one of the shifts I have brought here to Peel Region with my team is to invert that and have significant consultation, to have a real human rights centric focus approach. And so one of my comments before I pass it on to the other individuals that are here is that we have a duty as a chief, as a systems leader, to help bring along other systems leaders, perhaps to adopt the multi-sector collaborative approach and solidify it in a real cohesive plan versus each institution trying to resolve it themselves. I think we all agree it's not a new concept. We are better together. The roundtable concept is a great point to have a conversation. One of the things I would like to do is suggest to the Chamber of Commerce if they would like to participate in a future symposium in a town hall. Clearly, we know we have to start with discussion before we move to real concrete plans. And thus far, I think this is a great step. I know one of my superintendents, Sean Gormley, has run data, is focusing on data and analytics. I know that William Osler is really trying to understand the impact of the needs from a health perspective of international students. We know many of them don't have identifications that normally would fall into traditional systems like going to the Ministry of Health and being able to identify. But we need to come at it from a multi-sector collaborative: health, social services, education, the municipality, housing, transportation, finances, and also we from a safety and well-being, from a justice standpoint, need to be there. The last piece is I wanted to let the chamber know is that I and the Commissioner of Public Health, Nancy Paulsonality, for the region of Peel, are the co-chairs for the region's Community Safety Wellbeing Plan. And just as a refresher, community safety well-being is a real confusing term, but it's simply a four-principle approach that focuses on emergency response, risk mitigation, prevention, and social development. And the framework says, if we add as many partners into each of those silos as possible, we have the most vibrant response to risk and need. One of the things I would like to propose to the chamber is the international student experience has multi-challenges, and the entry point into a deeper conversation requires perhaps a regional plan. I can tell you that there is no municipality in Canada that has a collaborative regional strategy that is endorsed by the municipality. One of the conversations I've had with the Commissioner Paulsonelli is perhaps the subject of our international students' experience needs to be at that level of a priority, because it attaches all our conversations to not only municipal oversight, it gives it the highest level of importance, but it also has ties to coordinated systems funding, which perhaps doesn't even exist really right now, but there is an opportunity to leverage that. At any rate, if you're surprised to hear a chief of police be so thoughtful about non-police response to community's need, the reason is it's my members that are 24/7 responding to the mall parking lots where there are hundreds of cars, and we have conflicts, we have students being exploited, we have many cases, we have many of our students being victimized, and the definition of insanity is, they say, applying the same rationale and reasoning over and over again and expecting a different outcome. I can tell you, in a growing region, and like Peel, it's called, and it's incumbent upon us to see our response much differently. We have a vision here at Peel Police, where I say to my members, is to be the most innovative, progressive, inclusive a police organization in Canada, but that means something to my people. But externally, we want to make sure Peel Region stays the safest large urban municipality in Canada, which, despite some of the high-profile incidents you'll see on the news that happen in a large urban environment, we are continuing to be the safest. So with that, I want to thank the Chamber for creating this opportunity for dialogue. Please know that you have the fullest support of us as a police service. We are willing to actualize on the business community's partnership. I'm a big believer in public-private partnerships have the biggest opportunity to resolve some of the issues that we have traditionally looked at government and elected officials to resolve. It needs their involvement, but I think we're stronger together. Thank you for the opportunity to speak and look forward to further conversation.
Thank you very much, Chief. Along with you, I just wanted to acknowledge the presence of our Deputy Chief as well, Nick, then Marty, Nev, and Raj. Certainly, like you guys are doing a great job, what I can say. And as your insights are valuable, and these are going to help us to understand the reality from a deeper perspective. And our chamber will continue to engage with you on this matter to help Indian students. As a matter of fact, any international student in Canada to overcome the challenges they face. And I can assure you that as a chamber, we are always there to collaborate with you in any manner, like if it is the community safety or for the well-being of the international students. And the 4 major pillars you just suggested with the community safety well-being, I can assure you that on social well-being side, we will be trying to collaborate with more of the students along with your help and your vision. We all know about it. And thank you very much, as I said at the first as well. Like we know that, yes, like we are having like when we are into the Peel region, we know that, yes, we are into one of the safest regions of the, one of the safest regions of the Canada. But thank you very much, Chief, whatever the things you have been doing. And thank you very much once again for your insights. And now, friends, let me invite Apoorva Srivastava, the Consul General of India in Toronto, to share her views on the subject. Apoorva ji is a career diplomat, having joined the Indian Foreign Services in 2001. Prior to being appointed at India's Consul General in Toronto, she worked with the Minister of External Affairs from January 2017 to August 2019. In her 2-decade diplomatic career, she has served twice in the Indian Embassy in Paris and in the Indian Embassy in Kathmandu from June 2009 to August 2012. In the headquarters, she has served as Undersecretary for SAARC and as the Director, Administration. Please join me in welcoming Consul General Apoorva ji. Apoorva ji, to you.
Thank you so much, Ripudamanji, for this wonderful introduction. And thank you, Indo-Canada Chamber of Commerce and Centennial College for coming together for this really wonderful and very extremely timely initiative to discuss and address the problems faced by international students in Canada. I would like to acknowledge and Chief of Peel Police, Mr. Nishan Duraiappah, and his whole team. I totally wholeheartedly agree with all the points raised by him, that how we all have to work together, and this is a multi-dimensional problem, and we need a multi-dimensional solutions to that. And this can only happen when all of us come together to do this. And I'm confident that this webinar today will help us in getting a better understanding and help us as providing the sustainable and long-term solutions for these problems. As we all know, Canada and India is strategic partners, and cooperation in higher education is an important element of this partnership. India has been a top source of foreign students for Canadian universities and colleges, with the largest chunk of international students coming to Canada are Indians. We have more than 200,000 Indian students studying in Canada. These students, after their studies, most of these students are going to stay in Canada and contribute to its growth and development. And as we go from this pandemic to endemic, and as India's growth trajectory rebounds from pandemic, the number of Indian students opting to study in Canada's post-secondary education is definitely bound to increase. So it is therefore very important for all of us to work together to provide a safe and welcoming atmosphere for these students, so that they are able to focus on their primary job of studying and learning new skills. I have been here for 2.5 years, and I have met a number of students in various colleges and universities, mostly in person, but many a times due to COVID restrictions on Zoom. And while most of these students seem to be very happy with their overall education experience here, there are few issues which have been raised in front of me time and again. The problem starts, there are problems of agents being showing lucrative things of here in Canada. There are people there's a fraud happening in India, where people tell us that, okay, there's a college back in Canada. We know the case of 3 Quebec colleges. They had to be, the students have already fulfilled their fees, but these colleges are closed now, and there are more than 2,000 Indian students who are really struggling to get their money back or to seek transfer to another school colleges. There are issues of problem of adjustment when they come here. There's problem of finding food, lodging, the change in weather. They become homesick. There are frauds. There are phone calls, frauds. Then there's the issue of mental health. The students are highly vulnerable and often fall prey to antisocial elements. And we have come across students who have indulged in illegal activities, including drug abuse, which often leads to depression, anxiety, and sometimes even suicide. We as a consulate, we have this unfortunate task of sending back mortal remains of Indian people who don't have enough resources. And it is so heartbreaking for me to personally see these. There's a lot of these are the bodies of the international students who have come here to study. The cases, the causes of these deaths are, drowning during summers, accidents, especially during winters, drug abuse and suicide. So these are the 3-4 areas where most of these deaths occur, and it's really, really unfortunate and heartbreaking for us to see all that. While the consulate is always there to help, and as Peel Police has also said, Chief has also said that they are also there, the problem can be better addressed if the whole of the community approach is applied on this. We have this here 1.8 million of vibrant Indian community here that can contribute in building a harmonious environment for students to grow, flourish, and lead a peaceful life while pursuing higher education in Canadian colleges and universities. It is precisely for this reason that we at the consulate have been reaching out to various colleges and universities. We recently had a brainstorming session where more than 50 community leaders participated, and there were a lot of suggestions, some of which maybe I can mention here. There was talk about creation of 24/7 helpline. There were talk about roping in counselors from the community to talk to their Indian languages. As you know, we have 22 official language and several dialects. So students are coming from all over India. But we have community organizations speaking diverse languages. So a true reflection of India is here in Canada. So we can rope in community organizations. Mental health counseling was one of the major suggestions that there should be a regular mental health counseling session should be held. There was talk about creation of a digital platform where information on help with accommodation, free food, jobs, etc., mentorship for students could be provided. There are a lot of organizations like ICCC which can help in providing mentorship and other guidance on job opportunities that can be regularly held. It is very important for students to know about their rights, as the Chief had pointed out, do's and don'ts to do in Canada. So while we should we should try and go out, reach out to students and talk about it. But I think it would be a better idea if we can have this guide, which can be prepared with the efforts of all of us, for advisories for for students coming, international students coming here in Canada. And I think that we can all work together to create such a guide. And I think colleges, the inputs from colleges, Peel Police, some from Consulate would be important in putting together this kind of thing. And I'm sure ICCC can take a lead in having this information guide ready. It will be really, really useful for students back in India. We can put it on our website, so students before coming to Canada can have a look at this. And then there were talk about holding mandatory orientation programs, both in India and Canada, to provide authentic and correct information. Then there is problem of guiding the students who are unable to complete their course. So they have to be guided to choose alternative programs of vocation training, skill development. We have to work with universities, colleges, and local government to, for sometimes, children who are not capable of paying after a point. So we have to work together to find a solution on that. A regular student information session have to be organized by Consulate and the Gurudwaras, temples to arrange regular sessions along with community elders to provide guidance to students. So these were the few of the suggestions, and we are putting together all of these. But I'm very happy to work with Peel Police and ICCC and any interested organization to help the students in any which way it's possible. I'm looking forward to hearing the suggestions made by other eminent panelists here, and also the experience of the student. And I'm really confident that today's session, by the end of today's session, we'll be able to provide certain solutions to alleviate and address these challenges. And from our side, I can assure full support from Consulate. Please feel free to reach out to us. We are always there to help. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, Apoorva ji, for your understanding of the matter and the perspective that you have provided. And the Indo-Canadian community appreciates the efforts that the Indian Consulate has taken in this regard. I can assure you that our chamber will continue to work with the Consulate and with all the stakeholders for the well-being of the international students, as you have suggested some things about orientation programs and the mental health counseling. I can assure you, or I can just touch base with you that yes, we have already started working onto these things, so that how we can arrange the meetings with the international students, because when the students are coming into Canada, they face, and number one is the cultural adjustment. This is the foremost, I think, which they are facing right now. And we will having a diversity in our memberships. We are working with our members because we have a diversity. So we are working with the different organizations, and we will continue to working for all the things like which you have suggested to us. And we will be coming back to you with all the suggestions and the things which we are doing for the international students. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And now I invite Virginia Macchiavello, Associate Vice President, Centennial College, to share her thoughts on the subject. Centennial College has one of the largest contingents of Indian students, and the administration there is proactively addressing concerns and challenges that they face. Virginia has over 15 years of experience at Centennial College of dealing with international students and has engaged in resolving the challenges they face. Please join me in welcoming Virginia. Over to Virginia. Hello, Virginia, are you there?
Virginia is on mute.
Thank you. I should know that by now. I would like to thank you for inviting me to be part of this panel with such esteemed colleagues and really important issues that we're talking about. I want to build on the two speakers' comments to start with and say that I think it's really important for us to consider all of our international students and of course, students from India being the largest group of students recruited into Canada, that we are really educating global citizens and the future citizens of Canada for the most part, especially from India. They do tend to have the intent of staying in Canada. When Centennial, and we're one of 24 colleges, public colleges in the system, and I want to mention that Ontario particularly is known for the partnership table between industry, government, and educational institutions. And I really think this is an opportunity for us to build on that best practice going forward, and we're already trying to do that. So at Centennial, like many of the other public colleges, we have a program developed that starts with what we call transition in, transition through, and transition out. So I just want to speak a little bit about that. So Laura Wood is in the audience here, and she developed a program called Head Start. And so we try and establish a relationship with our international students before they ever come to Canada. And of course, we know that COVID has really catapulted us outside of the box. And we have many of our students for the first time studying abroad in their country for a semester before they even arrive in Canada, which makes the transition into Canada much more complicated because they haven't had the chance to be interacting with students and with their educational institution until in some cases they're halfway through their program or about to graduate. So I just want to make that point that has really complicated, I think, the situation and the isolation of international students in our present situation. But with the Head Start program, we offer a lot of advice to students before they ever land in Canada, everything from connecting them to their faculty, connecting them to colleagues and peers, and really trying to provide them with some orientation and workshops for the kinds of things that you've already talked about today. You know, what's the role of the police in Canada? Many students come from countries where that relationship is not strong, and really fascinated to hear your perspective on the role of policemen in Canada. And we often have speakers from your group that will come and talk to our students about everything from landlords and dating to domestic violence and all of those things that they might run into. We also talk about success, and we've had some times in the past where we had the consulate meet with our students, because we also encourage them to connect and register with their consulate. I think it's so important for them to have that connection, because we know your responsibility are those students, in Canada while they're here. And so having them connect with their consulate is really important, an important step. And often you understand just from the trends that that you are aware of, what the trends are for your particular group. At Centennial, we're organized geographically. So we do have language speakers, and we have staff that's familiar with the cultures that they're dealing with. And so we find that that's helpful. We give workshops, a number of workshops on academic success. And we try to monitor the success of students, how they're moving through the system, and identify high-risk students before they get in trouble. But as you know, there's many voices with social digital media, many voices in the community telling students what they should do or not do, and often not the correct advice to give to them. So we really encourage students to stay connected with their institution, with the consulate, and we provide workshops throughout their transition and academic support so that they can be successful. during their studies. And we do have programs for financial assistance, payment plans and things like that, so that if they find themselves in trouble, we like them to connect with us as soon as possible. And then we work with them on an individual basis. I think for the most part, I think students are successful. One of the things that I think is really important, and the way most public institutions recruit, is we recruit to the skill gaps, especially knowing that they are going to likely immigrate or apply for their postgraduate work visa and eventually their permanent residency. And so I think that's an important component and something that we could work with the local community in this particular group is really matching students to where the skill gaps are, so that when they do transition out, they're transitioning out to something that's successful. And I would say that's one of my biggest concerns right now that I'd like to put on the table, is we have a number of students who have studied offshore and perhaps are coming at the point of graduating with a postgraduate work visa without going through the transition in and the transition through. And we're really going to need the help of the community to place them in jobs, because they will come with a postgraduate work visa. One of the things I've been thinking about is the newcomer. There is a fairly structured or infrastructure for newcomers who apply and come as immigrants to Canada. Is there a way that we can partner with those organizations for international students for transitioning them out into the community? So just a thought that I've been thinking about lately, how we might do that to help our students become more successful and not get caught up in the scams and the people that are trying to take advantage of them. I think, one of the accusations is that we recruit students just because it's a big money, a money grabber. And I would like to make it clear that I think Canada has been quite brilliant. We have a skill shortage going forward, a huge skill shortage. We need young people to come, and coming through the study pathway is a great pathway, because we get to transition them in and through and into the workforce, and we welcome them into our workforce. But I think we need to pay more attention to how we can do that together. So I really welcome this opportunity to work with the community and see how we can do that in a way that really helps them do that transition to our country successfully. And that's good for all of us. It's good for the student, it's good for the country, it's good for Toronto and Peel and industry and the community. We do understand that there's a lot of issues around mental health, not just for international students, but COVID has, I think, exacerbated that for both domestic and international students. But I think it's more exaggerated with international students because of the isolation. They don't have the family support system on the ground here. And so we have a 24/7 mental health program where students can connect, and then those once they connect with that program, then they're connected with our counselors, and that is quite consistent throughout Canada. But sometimes it's just encouraging them to use those to use the supports that are there. We have hardship supports. We find with the students from India, often they do quite well in the first year. It's in the second year where things seem to slip. And they're either listening to all those maybe fast opportunities to make money, or maybe there's not as much support from home. And so they run into financial problems. And we do have programs for them in those cases, but it's getting them to contact us. We'll find that they'll start working too much, or they'll get an offer from maybe a private institution that says you only have to go to school 2 days a week and you can work full time. And we do the opposite. We encourage them not to work more than 20 hours and to focus on their studies. And so helping them understand that these choices lead to difficulty sometimes. And certainly in the landlord, accommodation area, they're trying to save money so they have more money for other things. And so I think accommodation, especially in the GTA, the Toronto GTA area, in the last while has been pretty tough with the number of students coming in and then the number of issues caused by COVID. So I think we really need to take a hard look at that and see how we can provide support for students in our communities. We have, I would say, a very strong infrastructure of support for international students. I think the challenge for us is connecting with them and helping them listen to the right voices and not get sidetracked by maybe making fast money or getting involved in things that will take away from their success. But I think for the most part, I would like to say our students from South Asia are excellent students. The president of our student council is from India, an international student to start with. So it's been really, this is really important work. And while I think we're doing a number of things right, there certainly is room to partner and do things better. So thank you. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Virginia, for your insightful remarks. Here, I just wanted to add one liner that institutes like Centennial College, or as a matter of fact, any public career college in Canada is not a money grabber. That I can assure you, and that I can vouch for it. You guys are making the future and making the better human beings with your institutes. So I can, so like it should not come into your mind, okay?
Thank you for that vote. Not perfect, but we're here to improve and get better. That's our job. Our job is to graduate students who are successful in career and in life.
Absolutely. And Virginia, at your colleges, like certainly Centennial College and the other colleges, they are doing a great job. And international students, certainly, yes, we will work on to some of the suggestions which you made. And we are already working at Indo-Canada Chamber of Commerce. And I must say that being the oldest organization for the Indo-Canadian community, it becomes our responsibility as well to work along with you. So your insights and your thoughts certainly are with us, and we are going to work. And in the near future, you are going to hear from us that what we are going to do for the betterment for the students. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And at this stage, I would also like to acknowledge the presence of Laura Wood, Centennial College, the Director of Student Community and Engagement. She has been instrumental in forging linkages between ICCC and Centennial College. Thank you, Laura. And now I would like to invite Gursharan Kandra to share her experiences. Gursharan ji is a veteran member of our chamber and is a student enrollment consultant with nearly 2 decades of experience. She has a first-hand witness to the many changes that have occurred in this sphere. Please join me in welcoming Gursharan Kandra. Gursharan ji, over to you. Gursharan ji, you are on mute. Gursharan ji, you are on mute.
I'm okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Gursharan ji.
Good afternoon. I'm Honorable Apoorva Srivastava ji, Consul General, Police Chief Mr. Duraiappah, and Virginia ma'am. I'm really very happy and glad that I got this opportunity to speak about some of the international students. I have been in this field for almost 20 years now, and I attended many of the business mission with the Indo-Canada Chamber of Commerce and fairs with ICF and all. And this, like growing, I'm very glad today to know that all these departments are now collaborating, doing efforts to make good living for the international students. And when I started working, there used to be almost one education fair in a prominent city of India, like Bombay, Delhi, with the help of CEC over there. So, but over the years, the students have started, population grown almost double from 100,000 to now almost 200,000. And the government, provincial government and the federal government should work together to do the betterment of these students, as we are running so many settlement programs for the newcomers to Canada to settle them here. So those way, same way, if governments can take initiatives and work together and that special problem when students are now coming are, initially they used to come postgraduate students. They were little mature, they had awareness about the things, but now usually post-secondary students are coming. And if they are given orientation over there, in India. So I think they will be more able to train to face the problems over here. The first is like housing. There they are grown up in a kind of where mother and parents are taking so much care, shell, everything. Here they are on their own. Housing is there. Then fee. First semester they are able to bring, and then later on it becomes higher for them to cope up. 20 hours of work only they are allowed to work. So afterwards, how to pay their second semester fee. And those are very, very stressful issues. And then once more main of students who come over here, their main objective is to get permanent residency over here. So they are more interested to get a permanent residency than to study and get those skills. Some of them are very good. And if they could be like co-op, there are programs which are more co-op. And also for mental health, if there is a like one helpline where they could approach and get like whatever problems they have, they could talk about it. That's what I'm I have experience, and I'm talking, especially COVID has very hard effect on everyone for mental health issue, financial and all those things. But still everybody had a dream because the education system is good, multicultural. The education here is much cheaper than Australia or New Zealand. And once they study here, they get good skills and they get into the workforce. So that's what, again, I thank you very much for Indo-Canada Chamber for giving this opportunity, and for you people that you have taken this initiative to work collaboratively for the betterment of international students. Thank you.
Thank you, Gurusharanji, for your insights. I assure you that we will work together to implement your ideas, which will go a long way in finding solutions to the problems and challenges Indian students are facing in Canada. Now we have with us two students, Karandeep Singh and Simran Kochar, to share their experiences. Simran, you will go first and Karandeep will follow. Both of you have 5 minutes each. So over to you, Simran.
Good afternoon, everybody. First, I would like to give special thanks to Indo-Canada Chamber of Commerce for inviting and to recognize our voice, to recognize the challenges which we face as Indian students. So talking about challenges, yes, we do face a lot of challenges right from the moment we decide to come to Canada, be it the visa, be it getting a student visa. There are a lot of frauds happening in Canada and in India, which do mislead students just to grab money, and they do not provide the students with the student visa. So it is very, very important for the Indian students or for the Indian community in India to realize that there has to be a special organization which they need to collaborate with, just like ICCC. So this is the first problem which we face. And the second problem which I actually faced, because I came into Canada in 2019, right when COVID started. So yes, I did face a lot of problems starting from jobs. Yes, we switched from one job to another just because of COVID. We had laid over for a long period of time. And managing the time was very, very difficult, to manage college, to manage assignments, and to manage work as well during the COVID time was very, very difficult. And it also played a very important role on the mental health. I believe that a lot of students faced a lot of problems in mental health due to the financial problems from back home, because due to COVID, nobody had work. Yes, there was support from government, but I guess for the mental health, there was not much support, which students could go upfrontly and discuss with the college or with the government, because there is lack of, there is homesickness which people face over there. So these are a few issues which I faced. Secondly, from India, we do not know our rights. We don't know what is right, what is wrong in another country, because the cultures in India and Canada are way too different. So I also think that there should be some organization or someone who could, guide students of what is right, what is wrong, what you need to be aware of, what you need to stay away from like frauds. I have been a part of a fraud. So I know how it feels to, lose all your hard-earned money just because of one fraud. So these are certain areas which has to be focused so that students do not face these applications. And I guess mental health, again, yes, I do see a lot of people who are facing mental health issues, and they do go to counselors in the colleges. But still, I do feel, there are students who might not, be willing to share their weaknesses. So it would be very nice if the college could recognize their problem and address it, and maybe have a solution to it. So thank you once again. I hope I was meaningful, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Simran. You were certainly very meaningful. Only one thing which I can see, just for the knowledge of all the international students, and you can spread this message, that know your rights rightly. You should know your rights rightly, not the otherwise. Okay, and now I'm gonna to invite Karandeep. Karandeep, over to you, and you have 5 minutes.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Karandeep Singh, and I'm going to speak on the challenges faced by international students. And thank you for having me here. And I think the biggest challenge or the problem that international students have is about mental health and stress. Because most of the international students that come here in Canada now are like younger students. They come after doing their post-secondary education. And when they are here, they don't have family here. They don't have much good friends, right? So they're very vulnerable, because they have to go to college, they have to do their work, and then they're only allowed to work 20 hours, and that doesn't really pay, because if you work for 20 hours a week for $14 an hour, it doesn't really pay for all the expenses here, especially in Canada, and especially in the GTA and Brampton Peel area, because everything is so expensive, right? From housing to groceries to gas prices to car insurance to everything, right? So I think because of that, like the financial problems that students face, they easily get into other things like finding ways to make more money, trying to work more than they're allowed to. This is true, because 20 hours doesn't pay. So those are the things that I think students face problems with. And the things like frauds by immigration agents here in Canada, because sometimes they would tell them that they will get transferred to another college where they can, like ma'am from Centennial College said, like private colleges they get transferred to, that they can go to college for 2 days a week and work for the rest of the time. But then I know a couple of students that at the end of their studies, they are not able to get a work permit because they chose to transfer to a college that was allowing them to work for, allowing them to go to college for less time, but was not actually a public college, right? Then it's not easy for them to get work permit. It's not easy for them to settle their lives because of that. And also fee related problems students face, like we normally think that when we're going to pay fee is going to be after 4 to 5 to 6 months, right? But it comes really before that. Like the deadline is not actually 4 months. College tells you 2 months into the semester, the college tells you that, okay, you have to pay in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And it's like an unexpected thing. And then they have to somehow get all that money from back home or working here or getting a loan and then pay the college. Things like that, I think should be more focused on. And like the police chief said, I think the solution would be more easy if like people from the community helped, like businesses and from the private sector. Because let's say there's a student from a certain area from India, and then there are businesses run by people from that area. It's more easy to understand how they think and to help them and to, make sure that the students have a sense of belonging. Because nowadays, due to media and things too, like people take freedom of speech too far. And then there's a lot of times there's a stereotyping about students. And then it becomes that they see themselves as a different part, like not part of the community. And then some people or some media channels in the community also show that they stereotype students due to mistakes done by, if there's 200,000 students and 2 of them do some mistake, then it's put as in, the students are doing a lot of wrong things. And then students themselves, like I talk to my friends, they think that they are not part of the community. So that's why even when they need help in case of a fraud or something goes wrong, they don't ask the police, or they don't ask people they should ask, because they think that nobody's going to help them. I think issues like that should be like more considered, so that students have a sense of belonging and they can relate that if they need help, there's somebody they can go to. And that's one of the many things that I can say. I think,
No, yeah. Thank you, Karan. Thank you very much. I tell you one thing. This is very commendable that to come up with all these things like which the students are facing right now. This is a commendable job you have done. And certainly as in a community, once again, I can tell you that we all are major stakeholders sitting here. Our Consul General of India, Apoorva Srivastava, then our Chief of Police, Nishan, and then the Centennial College management. We as an ICCC, we can assure you that come forward to us. Let us know what you need from us as in a community. Bring the new initiatives, and then certainly we're going to help you. And one thing, just for the knowledge of the international students, I just wanted to remind that yes, whenever you are changing a college, please go to the website, canadacolleges.ca. Like you are going to find the designated learning institute, if it is in a private career institute or it is in a public career college, you will get the difference. And it is 95% of our institutes in Canada, they are public funded colleges. So private, there are not the private career colleges. So you can differentiate from that website where you can get all the information. But please spread out this message for your students, for your friends as well. Thank you, Karan. And now I see many community leaders are on this Zoom call. And I would like to invite Mr. Mayank Bhatt, our Executive Director, to have them and to ask for anyone who wanted to speak briefly onto this matter. Please, there are a couple of hands like which I'm looking at. So Mr. Mayank, so over to you to invite the public leaders to speak briefly.
I want to first invite Rakesh Goenkaji. He's the senior most. He is our past president, and he's been involved with the chamber for more than 2 decades now. Rakesh ji, it will be a privilege to hear from you.
Thank you very much for inviting me. My question is directed towards Virginia. Virginia, what program or what initiatives Centennial College takes to connect with prospective students who are coming from India over and above your agent on the ground in India, to prepare those students for realities that they are going to face in Canada, considering those students are coming out of their house, their parental house for the first time. They're about 18 years of age. Even Simran Kocher pointed to challenges they face. They are stepping outside the house for the first time. They are emotionally not prepared, and there are tremendous cultural differences apart from what Karan talked about, financial stresses, mental health, and those things. But these students are not prepared. I do have personal interaction of experience about dealing with these students for the last 5 years. And collectively at MIT Foundation, we have dealt with about 50. But what I'm asking you is what Centennial College has to do. I hear you have a Keep Me Safe helpline, Keep Me Safe helpline, but that's only effective once they come there. The question really is what is done, what dialogue you have before they leave India so that right expectations are set for them over and above what your agents in India are telling them. Thank you.
I'm going to have Laura Wood answer this question because she actually developed our programs for Head Start, where we connect with them before their arrival. So Laura, would you describe to them what we do? And we do talk directly to our students, not just through agents. They often come to us through an agent, but once we give a letter of offer, we connect with our students directly. So over to you, Laura, to describe our program.
Sure. So we have our Head Start program, which is a 4-month program a program that starts 4 months before the start of a college program. And it's intended to support and help international students prepare personally, academically, and professionally before their arrival. So on the personal side, it certainly helps them with immigration support, helps them with finances, plan for housing, provides them with access to mental health supports as they transition to college. So anything that they would need to set themselves up personally, we offer programming in that side. We also offer academic preparation support. So if they need to, study skills, brush up on their study skills, help with English, help with math, they want to know more about their program, they want to talk to their faculty, their program coordinator, we certainly offer a number of workshops and programming on that side too. And the final piece is the professional support, recognizing that students are pretty keen at this stage and they probably have more time now than they will later on in their program. We connect them at this point with their our career services office to get their Canadian resume up and running, to understand what the Canadian job market is like, understand the cultural differences between what they might have experienced at home and what they might experience in a Canadian job market. So it has all of those different pieces, and we offer that programming in 3 different ways. One, they have access to our Head Start portal, which is an internal portal behind a firewall. So they would need their Centennial login information that they do get access to when they confirm their offer. And that has 3 different pages, and it live streams all the different workshops. And the workshops are the second piece of that puzzle. So every day for those 4 months leading up to the start of term, we run a different workshop according to those different themes. And again, it's personal, academic, professional, and one workshop one morning might be on the scams and the things to be aware of, and the next day they might be talking about academic integrity. So we really, it runs the gamut in terms of topics. And the third piece of the Head Start puzzle is a weekly email campaign. So we send out just-in-time information that is to students to make sure they know how and when to register, when to make sure they're buying their tickets, to let us know when they're coming so we can provide their airport transfers and arrival support. So that those touch points, we have a number of touch points, as you can see, before they ever arrive in Canada. And then again, they have access to this until about their 2nd week of term, when they transition them off to other resources at the college.
I appreciate your Head Start program. It's a good initiative.
Yeah, I just want to mention as well, the Head Start program, I think we have about 97% participation of incoming students.
Yes, yes,
Thank
it's
you.
quite high.
Is Don Patel online? I want Don Patel to share his experiences. He's worked very hard in this sphere. Don, are you there?
Yes, I am. I am here, Mayank Bhai. Thank you so much. I didn't know that you guys are gonna put me on the spot to talk about it. But since I'm listening from last hour or so, currently I'm driving, so I'm gonna focus on that also. But great initiative started by Indo-Canada Chambers. You guys are tremendous. I am a part of ICCC, former director, but I appreciate the initiative started by CG Apoorva ji, Chief Nish, and hearing to all the great initiatives taken by Centennial College. And as I always say, that prevention is better than cure. This workshop and the Head Start is definitely a good way where we can eliminate the facing challenges by the Indian student. Unfortunately, myself and my colleagues are involved into lots of, when I say unfortunately, meaning when we were involved with the help of Consul General, when unfortunate scenario happens, and we've been help to lots of students after their tremendous, either the loss of their life or whether they got involved into the accident or depressions and all the stuff. But this kind of initiative to do the Head Start and making sure that we all come together as a community to put the things together as a prevention, that will be much appreciated. And the steps to be, I wish that the steps taken now will be taken forward and not just into the talks. But as Chief mentioned earlier, that this is not a one-time small things where we all have to come collectively together to put the things together. It's not just a police or it's not just the Indian consulate, but it's the whole community together. We can pull this thing and make sure that the students are not facing the common challenges what they are facing it right now. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Don. Vishal Khanna, if he's still around, I want him because he's been sharing a lot of information. Vishalji, please come online and share what you have to say.
Thank you so much. Repuji, ICC, Apoorva ji, Chief, Rajan ji, Team Centennial, Goenka ji. Thank you so much. I was just wanted to put on one very simple thing is that Saidam Food Bank has started an initiative where our target is at least, but actually in the first quarter to be able to reach at least 10,000 students to get free food hamper, which we have already, first partner which has come across the Sheridan College, and we have over 600 children registered already. 250 have already got their hampers. We have approached, sent our emails across to all colleges across Ontario. We are open, wide open to go to Niagara, Sudbury, Ottawa, no matter where. We just wanted to request, we're working on different activities. We have specially created a page for international students on Saidam Food Bank's website. I've also shared a link that any child, he can pick up a hamper with no cost to him, just an ID. It doesn't matter. An international student, an ID, beautiful hamper, good for 2 months, no worries for at least basic need of food. I would just wanted to make sure that it is, however we can reach any college across Ontario. Number is not an issue. You have 10,000 students we have to feed, 20,000, 30,000, we all together will make a difference. We are working on different programs for them on mentorship, helping them to get Canadian experience if they need. They have to pay nothing on that. We have a wonderful team of people that are volunteers who are willing to support them even further if they need any guidance to approach anything. The only thing is to make sure the message goes across to any child. I did approach even the students who are hampered in Montreal, unfortunately, when their colleges shut down, but I did not know did not get any information. We haven't heard much from other colleges across yet, our information, and we are approaching through one of our deans at Sheridan to send to other dean students across public colleges across Ontario. That Murray is our contact at Sheridan to see how we can approach all. And if all of you here and, Honorable Apoorva ji and Chief, anybody you come across any student, anytime, 24/7, we are willing to work drop-off hamper to college campus so the colleges can put it to the students who need it. We have no issues. You have a college in Sudbury, they need help. Our vans will go drop off food and come back. We have Ottawa, doesn't matter. We have to go to Windsor, we'll drive to Windsor. Niagara will drive to Niagara. Every college can have that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. We will certainly take that into account and we will have you engage with our chamber in your efforts. I want to now invite Nawal K. Gupta, if he is there, to share his thoughts. Nawal, are you there? Nawal Gupta, is he there? Okay, I don't think he's there anymore. Papur Shankar is, if he's around, he is our former director. And if he's around, then I would like to ask him to invite him to speak.
Yeah, okay. Thanks. My name is Papur Shankar. I'm a chair of the Mississauga Chapter of Professional Engineers. We got about 8,000 engineers. Now I'll be a counselor for professional engineers from next month for 85,000 engineers. So I wanted to talk to all the colleges to see how they are welcoming the engineering students so that we have a big mentoring facilities. So we could help them in mentoring the engineer. We are doing the foreign trained engineers right now. So I'm thinking of looking at our Indian students, how I can help to mentor them properly, to adjust to our life, because many of the Indian universities do not have a proper the standards to suit to Canadians. So we have to help them before they come here, otherwise they get shocked to see their studies. The studies is entirely a different type. So I would like to see if, and the Head Start is very good. I do like that. And I wish all the colleges do that. The Head Start, we should set up as a protocol to all the Indian students. This will help a big deal. Thank you.
Thank you, Papur. We have a lot of other community leaders, and I don't want to be the one deciding who should be the one speaking next. But if anybody wishes to do so, please come forward and share your thoughts. If we have no speakers lined up, then we would like to end this session today.
Mayank, can I speak?
Please, yes. Arvind Bharadwaj.
Yeah. So my concern is I have been, as a sitting director and in a community member, I keep moving in community, and I'm in touch with a lot of students as well, especially coming from India, as you all said. There's a lot of incidents which have been across, which is of eve teasing or, luring the female students and, pushing them in other things. So especially eve teasing, not even in Brampton, even the downtown Toronto, these incidents have been noticed. People just take it for granted because of their work coming later hours, maybe in dark hours after 7 or after 8. So especially these incidents in Brampton area or these areas have been continuously increasing, and most of them has go unnoticed. So how we are going to address these things?
I'm not sure if we have the Peel Regional Police team with us right now.
I believe they are.
Hello, Arvind. It's Nish and.
Hey, Nish, how are you?
Very good. Yeah, thank you for the question. See, we totally, our officers see it regularly, where there is vulnerability in how some of our students may be exploited in the community. So, I think maybe I'll invite Inspector Raj Beering and Superintendent Nav Chinzer to, perhaps afford some from the operational side their experience as it pertains to how we've helped support, navigate, and communicate from a preventative standpoint for our people, but also on the investigative side, where we have had to follow up with those that are participating in any type of criminal activity in such a way.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chief. Namaskar and good afternoon, everyone. Great question there, Mr. Bhagwan. So I think we have to hit on a point that was brought up by Karen before, the stigmatism that's attributed to some of the international students. It's a small portion of the community, a small portion of the segment of the community that gets into trouble, and unfortunately the label then transmits on to everyone else. When I was up at 22 Division, we had a couple of major incidents that were very highly televised. And as a result, the community was in chaos, a little anger as well towards the international students. There was a very small portion of the community that was actually involved with it. And because of the proximity to the school, got the label of criminality towards international students. But it was through the partnership with the schools, as well as the partnership with communities such as ICCC, that helps us to take away and address those issues and focus in more on vulnerable sectors, which included students who are having to rent in accommodations which are not acceptable. So we work with the city of Brampton, Brampton Fire as well, get the resources in there to help the community, help the kids get the proper resources. But it's that partnership that's needed. And this, what we're accomplishing here today is that engagement and saying, where is it that we can help each other? Mr. Kanda, I've known quite a while. You know, at 2 o'clock in the morning, if there was incidents that are happening, we can always reach out as a policing agency to Mr. Kanda and his team. They've always been there to help out. It's having those a list of resources that we can then partner with the schools as well as the other community partnerships. It's a start, but that starts with the communications here, and I think we're on the right path. We just continue on, and the partnership with ICC will really help.
And I'll maybe, good afternoon, everybody. Again, Deputy Chief Milinovich, I'll maybe very quickly compliment some of what Raj was saying. You know, for me, there's really 2 large buckets that I would ask you to consider. So for context, I'm in charge of investigative services. So things like human trafficking, intimate partner violence, sexual assaults, all those types of incidents fall under investigation in my oversight. And so there's a few different streams that we approach it from. The first is when an incident is reported, we do the very best job and deliver the gold standard in policing services. We are in Peel really, really good at identifying people who have broken the law and holding them accountable and doing everything to make sure that they're held accountable. But, you know, that's kind of what you expect from a police service, right? So we're really good in that space, and it's something where we definitely invest. Now, the reality is because of the community that we're talking about, we recognize that there are feelings of uncomfort with police. You know, maybe they don't know who to contact, and it's all fine for us to say, you know, once we become aware of an incident, we will do everything possible to make sure the person responsible for it is held accountable and brought to justice. But that doesn't do us much good if people aren't reporting them. And, you know, we recognize that. So our service delivery model in those areas is not just proprietary. We are proprietary in that. We don't deliver it by ourselves. What we do is we look to our community partners who are better equipped, more deeply embedded in the community, more culturally responsible. This is a good example of that. And we try to push our messaging out through our partners. We try to rely on the trust that they have in the community in order to encourage people to let us know when we need to become engaged and how we should be engaged so that we can really begin preventing some of these things. And the reality is I would rather prevent some of the incidents that our folks investigate. You know, I would invest incredible amounts of resources in preventing as opposed to having to respond with investigation. And, you know, it's about communication, and it's about these opportunities here. So, you know, we do a lot with our partners, service partners. We have, you know, in human trafficking, for example, and IPV, we probably have 20 different service provider partners who are also culturally responsive, deeply embedded in the communities that we serve here in Peel. And the reality is we have to approach things that way because Peel is one of the most diverse communities in Canada. So the more partners, the better. And this is as much, I suppose, an answer to your question as it is an invitation to help us in that space. You know, the more people we get behind that, the better.
Well, thank you guys, but I think the information needs to go to the students as much as we all can, as gentleman has said. As an Indo-Canada Chamber of Commerce, the platform is always there. If you want to communicate to some way to them, so we can initiate to the members and we can, you know, arrange some more seminars. These informations, people do not know their rights, where to go, how to do. Because they come from a different background, they have a different kind of policing image in their mind. So the more we can tell them, that would be greater. And we are here to, you know, to participate in the community thing.
Thank you, Arvind.
Thank you.
I'm going to invite Vandana Gandhi from the State Bank of India to raise the question that she has.
Hello. Hello, this is Vandana Gandhi. And I thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. So I just want to say 2 points. Of course, there are many, but considering the time, I'd like to say 2 points for the students. That many of the students who come here, they have invariably need some banking support, in the sense they come from India and the back home, their account would have become dormant, or there must be KYC requirement, or they want to update their phone number, or they have to change their account to a savings account to NRE, like that. There can be a lot of requirements of from banking perspective. So all these can be done from here, but only thing, the bank in India will ask them for attestation of the documents, that somebody has to see them in original and say that I have seen this person, this person has signed in front of me, like that. So for doing those, State Bank of India, Canada is there. So just let them know that SBI Canada Bank, we can do the attestation of their documents. And once they sign here in front of us, it is as good as signing in front of any branch manager in India. And they can get their account activities updated or whatever is required sitting here itself. And number 2, I'd like to let the students know that many of them come on education loan and they have to send money to India for repaying their loans, right? So one of the best ways for doing that is through the SBI Canada account, which they can send the money for free, and instantly within a few hours the money gets deposited into their account, whether it is loan or savings. And all the more important for loan account, because if it goes 1 day before, they save 1 day's interest. Okay, and they get a higher rate. So 50 paisa is if it is saved. So for $1,000, 500 rupees they save. So that's what I'd like, you know, the community here, which is always helping the students in various through various forums. And this is my 3rd or 4th session that I'm attending. And I have always seen that you have connected with the students and guiding them. So please let them know that State Bank of India is here to help them for their banking related services, for attestation and for their remittance facilities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vandana ji. Hardik Shah will be the last speaker.
Yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity. It's a wonderful topic. And I'm happy to share one area that they are facing challenges. I'm a professional realtor. I have my accounting practice as well. One thing that they are finding very challenging is for housing. And they are looking for basement. They are looking for shared accommodation. And we have found in our Canadian marketplace that they are not finding economical housing for single males. And people are willing to rent to families. People are willing to rent to single ladies. But for male students, they were crying in front of me and asking me, saying, where should we stay? Nobody is willing to give us a house with 4 students or 5 students. Should we open up our tent in a parking lot of a temple or a school? Like, where should we stay? We are not getting proper housing support. Not only from investors or people who have properties and are willing to rent only to families. So there is a good amount of work that we need to do as a society to bring in some education that not every student is bad and is going to damage your property, but we need to open up our houses and properties for international students, especially male single Indian students is a concern that I would raise. I don't have a solution myself, but I'm looking at this whole community to come together and raise the awareness that we need to open our houses for these single Indian students for housing, economical housing. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Hardik. Rakesh ji, are you waiting to speak or have you already finished with whatever you wanted to share?
I have already spoken. Thank you. So I should have taken my hand off.
Thank you. Ripuji, you may conclude the session now.
Okay, Ji. Thank you, Meghbhai. And I wanted to thank you all the community leaders and for their inputs for this wonderful session. So friends, this has been an informative session for each one of us, and I'm sure we will continue to engage with the Indian international students as we begin the process of dealing with the challenges they face. I thank you for your time today, and I especially thank our esteemed speakers for giving us time from their busy schedule to participate in today's event. And I can assure you that we're going to have more of these same events in the future as well. So thank you, everyone, and have a good evening. Thank you, everyone.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Thank you again. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaskar. Bye-bye.
Namaskar.